Hey everyone. Hey everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Wind Down Wednesdays. I'm gonna give this just a few minutes, make sure everything's set up here. There's my alarm to get on. And I just want to make sure my computer is plugged in. Double alarms. The girls that help me out were ladies. They was laughing at me because I have so many alarms going. So how's everyone doing? I hope you can hear me. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I'm plugged up here because I want to be sure my battery doesn't die. Okay, on my computer. It's like half. Okay, I'm back. How's everyone? Say hello in the chat. Welcome to another Wind Down Wednesday. I am Michelle. I live in San Miguel de Allende, which is located in central Mexico. For those who don't know, I have lived here for 5 years, and this channel is all about giving you information about life in this part of Mexico, cost of living, challenges, pluses, and in addition to all of that, just helping people who are interested in visiting or moving here, that they have some connection to community. So that's kind of one of my goals, is always making sure people feel welcome and, enjoy the experiences that they have with either here online or through a consultation or through one of our relocation visits or weeks in San Miguel at Casa ELM guest house, and or a travel experience. So if you don't know, I have a guest house space in Los Rales, and the name of it is Casa ELM. And it's a space that I consider a soft landing for anyone who is interested in being in SMA, living here, visiting, or trying to check it out. So that's kind of one of the larger things that we are in. I hope it's not noisy. Welcome everyone. Miss Lowe, hi from Georgia. Welcome Nubian from Houston. Welcome V. Fulton. I'm new to your channel. Thank you. I really enjoy your content thus far. Thank you. I appreciate you all. And don't forget to subscribe. Welcome, Yolanda. Welcome, Kim. Looking to visit first and then retire in 3 years. Excellent. That's good time. I think that gives you time to just kind of make sure that it's a good fit. Time goes by fast, but a lot can happen in 3 years that may, you may see some other things, but I feel like it's a great idea to always explore multiple places and locations. Welcome, Jackie. Hi to all my regulars. I appreciate you. So today is a Ask Me Anything day. And I haven't done this. I think this week I just wanted to see what's on the minds of the people who, are looking or are moving here or watch my channel. So, just to kind of, I usually like to free flow on topics that come up or questions that come up. Always remember, a lot of times these are my experiences or the experiences of maybe something someone shared with me or that I know here. So it doesn't dictate the entire country and everyone else's experiences. So welcome, Gilda. Welcome, April in Paradise. So I appreciate you all. And Wind Down Wednesdays, I always talk about what I'm drinking. And even though I don't drink it, I usually am talking so much that I get one little sip in. I always have water and wine. So today's I always drink Sauvignon Blanc. Is the only thing that changes is the brand or the type or who makes it. That's pretty much it. So again, today's Sauvignon Blanc. I think it's the same thing I had last week. I don't think I finished it. So that's pretty much what I'm drinking right now. So what's new? Thanks for telling us where you are. Oh, welcome, Emmy Bate in Houston. Excellent. Welcome. So who wants to drop the first question? I can jump into anything. Just throw it in the chat. But I'll talk a little bit. I've talked a lot about San Miguel, but I'll talk a little bit more about it. And if anything comes up, I'll tell you, currently I have a relocation tour with 3 amazing women that are either right away ready to move, or they've retired and they're right away ready to move. We have someone who's, retired, probably going to be doing a move towards the end of the year, and then someone who's making a plan. So there's always kind of like that wider range of, who's coming, who planned like really far in advance, or who's just kind of looking into it. And it's always, nice to see kind of the excitement that people have when they come to San Miguel, they come to Casa ELM, and what their expectations were, what they thought, and then in the end, even having a lot of epiphanies, I always call it kind of, it's either the onion layer coming off, or kind of like the flower opening up to this new thing, right? So there's a lot to package in all of that and pack away, even during this week, which is very thorough in the information. So welcome, Mantra. I definitely need that. Okay, yes. At Casa ELM, CASAELM.com. You can find the information about that. Okay. If you have any questions, you can always send us an email. I'll talk a little bit about the tour itself, just so you know. Usually how it's not exact in terms of, how it unfolds, but pretty much what we try to provide you with is the real core basic things that you really need to move here. You will participate in a nice San Miguel experience, whether it's the vineyard, one of the vineyards. On Sunday, we went and had brunch, and they do jazz on Sundays at this particular vineyard. I might have spoken about this before. And then you have a city walking tour that just kind of gives you the history about San Miguel, just things that I think are really interesting. You get to see the city by foot. I think that's a couple hours long, and it just kind of gives you a general idea of, what's happening here, what people celebrate, why they celebrate it, things like that. And then we also have a presentation that's given by someone who's an immigration consultant or specialist. And I'll drop it in the, hold on one second, sorry. It's probably what I should have done in the first place. Sorry. There you go. So basically, the presentation that's given by the immigration specialist typically is going to be the person who you probably want to connect with, right, when you're ready to make those moves. It helps you understand what's required, what your options are. At the moment, there are several there are quite a few changes and different things that are always happening or happening as we speak. Usually every year, the requirement to qualify from a financial standpoint increases. And that is based on Mexico's minimum wage, then times, I think, 3 or something like that. So, there's just a lot that you can get from that. We have, today we went and spoke to a medical insurance agent, and that was extremely informative. Some people, will come and they already have insurance in the US that fully covers them after retirement. However, they want to know, like, how does it work here? What can they qualify for here? So there was quite a few nuggets, I guess, that I didn't even know. For example, I guess for most insurance policies, or at least the ones here, to get the insurance, either catastrophic or just general, I think you have to get in with some of the plans by age 70. Once you're in, you're in. And then there were certain things that not pre-existing per se, but other things that you can't maybe file a claim for, something like, I don't know, something with your back or something like this. I don't remember all the details, but the point is that's a part of the tour. We also connect people if they're interested in opening a local account with a bank representative who kind of explains all of the requirements and things that they need. Also, we do a neighborhood tour. That individual literally will drive you around San Miguel, explain the different areas, why they're more desirable or maybe not so desirable, and just kind of breaking it down by, for example, Guadalupe is kind of known, and so is San Antonio area. Those two areas are known for all the beautiful murals that are painted everywhere. It's kind of more artsy. It's close to the Fabrica Aurora, which is a pretty large art gallery with multiple gallery spaces and restaurants and furniture stores. It's really a fun, nice place to go and see. So those areas sometimes are more attractive to the creative person, who wants to kind of be in the mix. So they will take you on that and explain everything to you about those areas. And then there's a tour with a realtor who will kind of reinforce some of that information, but then will show you the inside of houses. And, that usually varies because the purpose of that portion of the tour is kind of to just educate you. I know we had Maru on about over a month ago, I believe, talking about just the requirements, the details involved in renting and buying, the different types of land that's available for sale, what you should know about it, things like that. That's kind of the purpose, is to just continue to educate you about what you possibly can get for, your money. I will say this, that I think the best deals that, most people will kind of lean towards and maybe just do on their own through trial and error is sometimes just getting out there and walking around and looking for stuff on your own. If you have that kind of time. And I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying sometimes it kind of helps. It kind of helps to do that. So I just wanted to say you're welcome, V. Fulton. Mima, welcome. I understand Mexico has raised income requirements. Yeah, they raise that every single year. And let's see, where'd you find? Okay. Hi, Suki. How was your rainy season this year? How are you? Welcome. Rainy season, we haven't had rainy season just yet. Our rainy season typically starts like mid-June, meaning continuous rain. When I say continuous, doesn't mean it rains for 3 months. It means more it starts and then it rains maybe every day, once a day for about 3 months. We did have some rainfall, I want to say last week, and it was lovely. So things are a little bit greener, except my little trees out here. I mean, it's a little blurred in the background because of the light, but yeah, my little trees need water. We've neglected them because I always forget these up here on this floor. Shame on me. Anyway, we haven't gotten the rainy season just yet. So I'm looking forward to it though. I'm really looking forward to it. Up. They need like a little balance. We need a little bit of your rain and you need a little bit of our dry season. So kind of comes in balance. So Suki's in Oaxaca, and I'm sharing that because she has if you want, she also has a Facebook page that can tell you more about that area in Mexico. But as you can see, Mexico is pretty large. So we have all types of weather depending on where you are, where you live. Right now, this is our summertime. It's April and May mostly. The weather is it's very interesting up here. So we actually get kind of chilly at night, which I love. I love, love, love. And it warms up during the day. It's like, hot. I can wear shorts and things, that kind of hot, kind of dry, intense sun. And then it cools down once the sun goes down. So it's kind of really an ideal day or ideal temperature, but it does get very dry here in April and May because we don't get a lot of rain. So since the rainy season pretty much ends in October, from October until June, typically we don't get rain. So after all of that kind of happens, it just is, your nasal passages can get very dry, your skin, everything. It just, yeah, it kind of is, not like Oaxaca and along the beaches and Oaxaca's beaches as well, where it's kind of more like humid, which I love. I love humidity for my skin. I do miss that about Florida. But it tends to be what it is, but it is a very comfortable climate in general. Welcome, Lorraine. How are you? Welcome, Kim. Hi. The person research. I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you saying that. Yes, it's been my pleasure. We've been just providing soft landing space for people that are interested in coming here or just trying to decide, is this their space? And we really try our best to, be accommodating and also helpful, trying to show everyone around and things like that. I think it's just kind of one of those places where the environment, the community here, more or less, we all rub off on each other in terms of just being very welcoming. And that, I think, is a huge part of the attraction to this part of Mexico. Even though Mexico in general is beautiful, people are amazing. I think there are a lot of things that people feel connected to community-wise, and, they end up coming and liking it. Let's see, Lorraine. Hi, Lorraine. I said hi to you. Welcome, Sunny. Best laundromat and favorite fresh produce and food markets. Tips on how to navigate the mall system. The mail system. Got it. I need my glasses. Welcome, Deborah. Okay, first part, best laundromat. I have a washing machine and dryer, so I really don't have too many laundromat recommendations, but I will say that I think it's called Lava Green. I've used them when I was in the process of buying my washing machine and dryer, and they came and picked up my things and brought them back. And I think I also used them when I was moving to wash like my big bulky things, my comforters and stuff like that. And it was pretty reasonable. So Lava Green is going to be the answer to that. As far as I don't know if it's the best one. And then the other option is if you have someone that is helping you, if you have a home, and this is for everyone, that someone's helping you with cleaning, let's say you have 3 days a week or something like that. Sometimes those people, the domestic workers, will help you with your laundry. It all depends, I think, what you ask from them and also how you pay for that. So always remember to be fair with your pay, okay? Yeah, I think it's kind of a fine line what some people do, or what maybe what some people started with. I actually ran into that quite a bit, where someone started with a certain amount that they were paying, and it's like 5 years later, they're still paying the same. Don't do that, okay? Just be fair. If your costs go up, theirs go up too, all right? So just like my 2 cents worth there. Favorite fresh produce and food markets. Well, I typically will go to one of the local fruterias. There's just something about it. It's so convenient. There are quite a few. There's some that I go to, and I could not even tell you the name. I just know where they are. Most of them just say fruterias on them as well. So the one that I go to is out here where I live, and it's close to, it's on the road to Jalpa, which is a town. And that's all I know about it. There's a butcher, there's a tortilla place where they make tortillas, and I think they do it for like commercial batches, because those little shops and stores are all kind of like almost like a storage or warehouse kind of setting. And then there's almost like a dry good place, and then next to it is the fruiteria. So I don't really need to go to the grocery store. I typically will go there if I don't make it to one of the markets, like a Tuesday market is probably the most popular, I think, around here, and they have everything. I always say this, and I did a video live. I think it was a little choppy in the middle because my connection wasn't great. However, you can kind of get a general idea for what's available. Fruits, vegetables, socks, underwear, baskets, food, bunny rabbits. I got bunny rabbits from there for my son. I was actually gonna have my little tiny black bunny rabbit we just got. By the way, don't get bunny rabbits. They're very cute. Once you have your animals, you kind of try to keep them. But they're a lot of work. I didn't realize that, but they're a lot of work. Anyway, back on on topic. The Tuesday market sells everything: incense, desserts, you name it, stuff if you want to like to crochet, seafood, chicken. It's just a place to hang out. I really enjoy going there with people that are visiting, because I feel like it's a very authentic kind of Mexican experience to have, just to see how people survive, what they're selling. Though sometimes there'll be one person selling one thing, like all avocados or all broccoli or all oranges. There are people who cut up fruits and sell those. So it's really interesting to, basically have that experience. And let's see. So those are my places. Of course, you can go to La Comer and City Market, but I don't know. I just don't want to pay, double the price just to be somewhere fancy. Don't get me wrong. I love going to those places. I love City Market, but yeah, it's almost like shopping at the Mexican version of Whole Foods. So, and any tips on how to navigate the mail system? Okay, mail system in Mexico. Is there a mail system? Someone please chime in, because I have not used anything mail related. I'll tell you some of the experiences that people have had and what's available to receive mail from the United States. So first off, if you're ordering things on any like online platform like Amazon, there's amazon.com.mex. Amazon.com.mex delivers and it's very efficient. I've used it. Now, I'll say very if you have an address that's easy to get to. And I'll say maybe in, for sure in bigger cities, places like San Miguel, but like if you're somewhere very remote, you may have to have things sent somewhere where you can go and pick it up, okay? As far as mail, there are several companies, but the one that comes to mind if you needed to receive mail from the United States is La Conexión. I'll put it here. I think this is how you spell it. Hold on, yeah. All right, you should be able to find it with a search on Google or Facebook. And I think they have a few offices. So my understanding is that they have like a P.O. box maybe in Texas, or several P.O. box addresses in Texas, and you can use those to send things there, and then they deliver to San Miguel. And I don't know how often, I want to say once, maybe twice a week. So that's an option if there are things that you just absolutely have to, get on paper or sent to you, important documents and things like that. Now, I don't recommend sending electronics, and you absolutely cannot, because this came up today, send medications and prescriptions to yourself. Okay, so if you move here to Mexico, you're retired, and you want to have your doctor in the US, because you still have insurance there, prescribe 6 months worth of something, and they say, sorry, we can only give you 2 months, right? And you still need the other 4 months because you're here, or maybe you don't know when you're returning. One of the things I learned today was that your doctor in the US can write a prescription for you if it's something that you need a prescription for here in Mexico, because a lot of things you don't need a prescription for. You can just walk into a pharmacy and buy it if you know what it is that you want. But if it's a prescription-based thing and Mexico requires something written, they will accept that from your doctor in the US. Okay, I don't know any other deeper details, but the brand itself, typically there's going to be either that same thing or the generic version of that. And they will, so you don't need to go see a doctor if you already know, you can just buy it, okay? And if you have all of that, all those details and information, typically you can find everything you need in terms of prescriptions here. There are lots of pharmacies, and I say here, I'm always speaking mostly for San Miguel because this is where I live. I can't really say all the prescriptions are going to be available in all parts of Mexico. So typically in cities, more populated places, you'll be able to find those things. So I learned that today, and I forgot what the other places we talk about. Okay, so we'll talk about the healthcare system in a moment. But basically that's what has happened in that regard. And I feel like I'm missing something else. Okay, and the mail, that's what we were talking about. So you can't mail prescriptions and or even vitamins through regular mail unless it's maybe like you're ordering it from Amazon.com or some other reputable thing. And I'm letting you know this because when I first moved here, I had someone mail Micah's vitamins, and I had some like multivitamins for him that he really liked. And $90 worth of stuff was basically confiscated. So in regard to getting like FedEx, UPS, I believe DHL, and maybe some other shipping companies, you can get things here. Okay. I've had my like replacement credit cards, replacement debit cards, and things like that sent, and it has arrived. I've never had any issues. There are also places in town like used to be Smart Space, but now it's called Espacio. And they will receive packages and mail and things like that for you if you want. I know that mail can get here. I had a client quite a few months ago. She didn't realize like the way the mail system worked. So I gave her my address to use to mail something. And I said, make sure you send it FedEx or DHL or one of these express services. And for whatever reason, that didn't happen. And I'll tell you, her mail actually got here, and I don't even remember what was on like the package as far as what it was, because I really do not have anything sent to Mexico regular, like, US Postal Service. But apparently it works. But it took probably like 2 months or so, I would say 6 to 8 weeks-ish. And, if it's something really important, yeah. And if it's even not that important, like who wants to wait that long to receive something? So it's just not as the same as what we might be used to in the US. So those are the choices. You can send things. It is expensive sometimes if you want to ship stuff out of the country or you want things to be sent here. I would say like a FedEx letter. My last memory of sending, like, for example, a card, a Rush credit card, was somewhere between 60 and 75 US dollars for one of those letter size envelopes. And even though it tells you, oh, it's going to get there the next day, it takes about 4 to 5 days, business days to get here. So yeah, I think those are the options and things. And that's kind of what I know. Let's see. Lorraine asks, I'm wondering, wait, did I miss? No. Lorraine asks, I'm wondering what about driving in San Miguel, getting a license in Mexico was difficult. I got my license 5 years ago. So I can guarantee you that from then to now, things have changed, but it was very easy. And I don't mean it changed for, being more difficult, but I've recently heard that I think you have to do maybe like an eye exam. And I think you have to do you have to provide your blood type, which you may have to do that in the US. I don't remember having to do that in the US. And that's because if you get in an accident, I don't know. If I really don't know the reason, I'm just assuming if you needed some emergency blood or something, I have no idea. But that is something they ask. I would have to freshen up on that. The other option is you can go to some of the expat pages on Facebook and kind of ask, has anyone recently done their driver's license here? But I know maybe 3 people that told me they had to do an eye exam, and I know they had to give like their blood type. And I don't remember, I didn't do that. I don't remember them asking me that question. And it wasn't hard. If you already have an active license, driver's license in the US, that's pretty much what I used to get my Mexican driver's license. I had a woman who helped me, because I was new here and I didn't know where to go. I know now, but I didn't know where the office was. I didn't know what was required, but I didn't have to take a driving test or any written exams, right? Like I haven't done that since the 80s. So that was pretty much my experience, and I paid a fee. And I can tell you this too, that the reason why I got my license was because I was buying a car, and I needed a Mexican driver's license to buy a car. And I'll also tell you that the Mexican driver's license is not as significant here as like the US driver's license is kind of linked to a lot of our, credit things, clearly our home address, just a lot of, more identity type things that we're connected to with our driver's license. And here, I did not find that. Like I was at the time, I don't know if you can still do this. At the time, I was able to get my Mexican driver's license on a tourist visa. So that may have changed. Again, this was in 2018, so almost 5 years ago. And yeah, it's interesting because I remember going to the bank. In the beginning, the bank that I used, I'm trying to remember. Oh, okay. So when I opened my account here in Mexico, I opened it also with a tourist visa. They allowed me to open and put money in and use it. And I think they allow that because a lot of people, back before they really started cracking down, would just come and stay maybe for 6 months. And I think that's where the 180 days kind of came in. It's like the snowbirds would come down and, you need money. Of course, it helps them if you're putting in Canadian, US euros, or whatever into your account. So they would allow you to open an account here without kind of maybe being a resident and all these other things. Now, I don't know if that's changed. I really can't answer those questions particularly, but I'm just sharing with you that the license really wasn't that, the same strength like it has in the US. So I remember once in the beginning, first they would allow me to literally withdraw money with a paper copy of my passport. And then one day I went in and they were like, no, we need your actual passport. And I was just like, okay, that should have been how it was in the first place. And then I said, well, that day in particular, I don't have my passport. Can I show you my license? They said, no, I couldn't withdraw money from my account with a Mexican driver's license. I had to have my passport. That was the only ID they would accept. And now they will also accept your residency card. So those are kind of like the two really significant things that they will let you accept. Well, that they will accept, I should say. Okay, let's see. About the license. Yeah, so you can get help. It's not difficult, but I know some things have changed. And if you have an active driver's license, you go in, you fill out, this is how it worked for me. You fill out the papers, someone can help you with that. You can kind of wait a little bit, you sign some documents, you take a picture, you get a new license. I think it lasts for 5 years because mine expires. I have to get that renewed soon. Let's see, Suki. Can talk about the healthcare options there. I guess you mean here. So today we met with this agent, and she had a lot to say. I don't remember all of it, but the healthcare options that she pretty much offered were through a company called GNP, which is a Mexican company. She spoke very highly of this Mexican company, and she said that, they are kind of like an insurance company that's been around for decades and decades, and that they stand alone, meaning they aren't partnered with a bunch of other companies, and that they provide very good coverage. She said that you can now clearly, you have to qualify. However it is, it's kind of similar to the US. When I signed up for insurance, I didn't have to do an exam and things like that. But I can't say that every company is going to just let you sign on, right? I think you can be approved. I'm not sure, but what all the processes are, but I've never had to do an exam, even when I switched from one company to another. And it's pretty reasonable. So she was explaining that they cover a lot. And also, for example, let's say, while you have insurance, something in particular becomes an ailment for you, maybe an ongoing, condition of some sort. And she said, once you pay deductibles for that particular thing, like you don't have to keep paying it every year. So if every year you need to go, let's say, someone has more of like a chronic, sickness that keeps coming around. Once you pay deductible and you go into the doctor the next year to get a full exam, whatever, you don't have to keep paying that deductible for that ailment every year, which I thought we thought that was pretty interesting, because usually in the US you have to just meet the deductible every year. It doesn't matter, I think, what it is. It's usually just what this is. But if you have something that's kind of chronic, ongoing, and you every time you need to go in, it doesn't matter. Like that doesn't change your how much you're paying out of pocket. They do also offer insurance that's global. So even if you travel somewhere, it apparently still covers you. The thing is, you have to be in Mexico. This isn't going to work if you're like, oh, I'm going to go to Mexico and get insurance and go back to the US. You have to prove that you live in Mexico. You need an address, you need a residency. That's changed because I didn't have a residency when I signed up. And I don't know if this is all companies, but the several companies she mentioned, you can't get insurance unless you have a temporary or a permanente residency or citizenship. You have to be living in Mexico for a minimum, I believe, of 6 months out of the year, and you need to be able to kind of prove that somehow. And the coverage is, like I said, global, and there's some coverages that will, if you have, let's say, an emergency here, but your wish is to go back to the US, as long as it's a medically prescribed, emergency, they will fly you back to the US as well. What mode, helicopter, airplane, I don't know. Okay. But they will pay for that. One of the things too that came up was when you go to the hospital, if you had an emergency, and how does the insurance part work? And I think what she was saying, and I don't know if this is for all cases, but she mentioned needing to pay and then you get reimbursed for that. So she really emphasized having a credit card, because most of the hospitals don't take cash. That's probably just, for, to prevent loss, prevent fraud, prevent theft and things like that. So I thought that part was very interesting. So I can tell you, when I signed up a few years ago and I've, have my insurance, that most of the time I don't meet my annual deductible, because you have to kind of pay for your prescriptions and certain small things out of pocket, and then you keep your receipts. And then if you get to your deductible amount, then the insurance kind of kicks in. That's what I purchased. There are other levels depending on what you need, depending on, your health and things like that. But I do believe that, there's some very affordable options here. And, depending on, are you just looking for catastrophic coverage where you have a higher deductible? I think you can get insurance for as little as 500, maybe US dollars. Yeah, and I don't know what the deductible would be on something like that, but I've seen like kind of a range, and that all again depends on age, your health and things like that. So there are plenty of people, like if there's someone that you know, or an agent or whatever that does any kind of insurance, auto, they probably do medical as well. So that's kind of what I know. If you think of anything else that you want to know, costs are, in my opinion, very, very affordable compared to the US. And even with a deductible, it's still less expensive than the US. And I can also tell you that there's some really amazing hospitals, qualified doctors, and things like that. I went to Querétaro recently, did a whole exam, and it cost me out of my pocket about $60. I got a mammogram, back the end of last year. I think that was about $30 US. So you can kind of like, and I did that at a hospital. So I walked in one day, got my appointment for the next day, got all my things. And then they email you results and things like that, or you can talk to them on the phone. It all depends. Getting blood work, just your normal checks, I think is about 100-ish, maybe 150 US. So things are definitely more affordable in general. Yes, healthcare, and I don't know, other healthcare options. I mean, that's pretty much it. I know there's dental. I didn't buy dental because I just go and get those things. If you need a cleaning or something like that, you're typically paying probably 35 to 50 US, and they do a great job. They'll check cavities, and if you need an x-ray, I think that's a little bit more. And there are a lot of places here in San Miguel that are like dental, walk-in emergency clinics. There's the Red Cross. There are multiple hospitals. There's like multiple private hospitals, but there are also public hospitals as well, where you can receive, pretty good care if you just can't afford to spend a lot of money. That's always understandable. Let's see. Yes, I'm tempted to communicate when you aren't fluent. Well, I feel that body language works really well. Just I don't know. I use my hands a lot to try to explain things, but I would say it all depends on where you are in Mexico. I think that places like here, maybe Mexico City, bigger cities, you're going to really be able to communicate. The beaches, the Cancun areas, not that you want to be there, but I'm saying that those places will have a lot of people that speak English. And I'm not necessarily promoting that you don't learn Spanish. I do think that there's always that initial getting over the hump of how do I communicate. I think I talked about that in one of my videos, just kind of like the things that I felt were my top challenges or surprised me when I got here. And I thought I knew Spanish better than I did. That's because I did study a lot, and then I lived in Miami. Dialect is everything, okay? It sounds completely different. But I think if you are going to somewhere that's not really used to foreigners, it can be a challenge, but that, depending on your level of, how much you really want to try to speak the language or not, I think, you have to kind of know what that is. And when you go to a place, you have to choose to either be dedicated to your Google Translate or try to learn the language, or, try to find like people who speak your language to help you communicate. I went to Zacatecas a couple summers ago, and it's a city, a beautiful city, actually. I was quite impressed. And I speak my little Spanish here all the time, and I couldn't figure out is my Spanish that bad, or if they just weren't expecting me to speak Spanish, so they were looking at me with the deer in headlights, or how I say what I said wasn't clear somehow, because that's very likely. I don't know, but I had a lot of kind of moments where I thought, oh, I don't know Spanish as well as I thought I did, or they just aren't expecting me to speak it. I have no idea. But I remember we were trying to order, and even this was interesting. So don't assume that everyone makes margaritas two ways, on the rocks or frozen, right? In Zacatecas, they only make frozen margaritas, and I don't like frozen margaritas. I don't like frozen anything. I like pina coladas every blue moon. The point is I kept asking for my margarita on the rocks, and they kept bringing me frozen. And I was like, am I saying it wrong? And then my friend, who fortunately was with us, and she's Mexican, she was just like, started asking them questions, and they said they don't make margaritas on the rocks, or that's not their norm, or they've never really heard of that. And I found that very interesting, because I think, and this might be off, but I think most of us assume, or most of us think that, everywhere in Mexico, they know how to make margaritas, right? Are they from Mexico? I don't know. I'm assuming because it's a tequila drink. Yeah, I don't want to stereotype their drinks, but the point is I had a tough time there. And, there were several times when I would ask for something, or I would speak to someone, and it was like maybe a different dialect. And then, of course, me coming from San Miguel with my Spanglish, it was just very interesting. So I think it's definitely doable in bigger cities, easy to communicate, not hard to, kind of figure your way around and things like that. People will still be very helpful, but it's just kind of hilarious, because I think that, we have to throw ourselves in the mix. And once we throw ourselves in the mix, then it's sort of like you figure out how to navigate that mix. You know what I'm saying? So sorry, my son and his friends are downstairs making a little noise. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Let's see. Some of the coolest things you've ever done. The coolest things I've done here. Okay, I have to say one of the coolest is Casa ELM. I really love that, and I'll tell you about the excitement stuff in a minute. But I love, being able to assist people who are interested in Mexico, making them feel, like they're in a safe space. Teaching people about what's so great about Mexico and why I love living here, sharing my experiences with them. I can say that it's definitely definitely my favorite job. But also it's challenging, but it's a positive thing. But I really enjoy, being able to be in this place in my life. I literally was saying this, I was kind of joking around with Micah on Sunday. I was bringing him to a friend, and I was going to pick up my three ladies to bring them to the vineyard. And I was like, this is my job, and I love it. I love it. Now, as far as activities, gosh, that's a great question. There are quite a few things that I really love and really enjoy, and have enjoyed with Mexico. So, okay, I'm just going to start with the San Miguel area. Okay, one of my favorite things is going to La Gruta. You all will hear me talk about the hot springs. I love it. I love the hot springs. Okay, I love it when it's cold outside to go there. It's probably, my memory of going to the Blue Lagoon in Iceland. It was just amazing. And it was just like, this beautiful blue kind of looking water with steam coming off of it. It's cold, and, you get in and it's just like, so I love doing that here in San Miguel. I am all about it. So if anyone knows of hot springs, I know there's Tolantongo. I haven't been there yet. I was planning to do that during the Semana Santa week, but then I just got so busy, I didn't feel like driving. It's about 4 hours away from here. And if you don't know it, look it up, Tolantongo. And it's also hot springs on the side of a mountain. It's just incredible. Like it looks amazing. So La Gruta here in San Miguel is one of my favorite things. A few weeks ago, we went to Shote, which is my son's favorite thing, a water park for adults and children, but I just stayed cute. I was like, I'm not getting my hair wet. And we had like a blanket, and a bunch of us went with our kids, and, a couple women, and Elton. And then Micah's school was there as well. It was pretty packed, but it was a lot of fun to be there. But yeah, the hot springs is my thing. The rooftop restaurants are amazing. We did that today for lunch. Just, I love it. I love it. It's funny because when I first came here, I came from Miami, and there are really chicy places in Miami, right? The food is not always good. However, there's like everything's like, shishi. And I used to think to myself that, oh, this is, all classy and stuff like that. And it's so high end. And I like going to do stuff like that. Not all the time, but if I wanted to go out and have a, night out, have some drinks and just like lounge around with my friends or something, we would look for a nice sky, somewhere we're up in the sky, basically. And basically, from that point, moving here and then going to like a few of the rooftops, I was just like, wow, because I didn't really know and I didn't expect those experiences. And there's so many of them. I believe there are 60 to 75 ish rooftops in San Miguel. So there's always like a very interesting view and perspective. So I really enjoy doing that. I've done horseback riding. I can't say that's my favorite thing, but I like hiking. I've done some really cool things in Mexico as a whole, but San Miguel and around here, like going to vineyards and things like that. So it's really cool. As far as a whole, Mexico, I would have to say last year's train ride was probably one of my favorite things. Yeah, I would have to say, and it might have been that I was so hyped up about the ride, but then when I got there and I saw the actual like canyon in the city and the town we were staying in, I knew we were riding the train through Copper Canyon, but I got to see it the day before. I did a tour that wasn't really planned. I literally asked them the night before, like, hey, can we get on the tour? And in the morning they were telling me no. And I was like, why not? So I called some other guy and then they said, okay. And they came and got me. And I just, strolled into wherever we were. And the guy was like, oh, you have an hour here. And so I'm looking at all like the vendors, I'm eating. And then beyond that was the canyon and they call it, what's it called? It's like the cable car ride. And I was just like so blown away by this, place. I was just like jaw dropping. It was beautiful. So it's called Barrancas de Cobra or Copper Canyon. We're like the 3 miles of the canyon, and it's larger than Grand Canyon. It's just breathtaking. So that was probably one of my favorite things for sure, aside from living here and the people and all that. But I really enjoyed doing that quite a bit. And I love the beaches. I love Oaxaca. I love the beaches in Oaxaca. To me, they are the nicest, in my opinion. I've been to the Pacific Coast. I haven't been to Los Cabos and Los Cabos or La Paz. Those are things I would like to do. But I've been to the Yucatan, beautiful as well. I've been over to Zihuatanejo and a few other places where they have beaches, but I really love the beaches in Oaxaca, like landing in Huatulco, going all the way over to Puerto Escondido. It's just very pure and pretty and always like green. It's just really nice to look at. So those are my favorite things. How do I find things to do? Research, researching. Let's see. Let's see. Someone said, mantra, I'm a younger expat moving because I'm sick of living in the US. Can I move into Mexico with just a few thousand and no job? I have to say, at this time, probably not moving in because they have requirements. If you want to come in and be legal, there are like requirements, and I don't know what those numbers look like. So, you have to do your research and homework. Your local consulate can tell you how much, you would need to have. I don't know what it is, but I know that those are two options. One option is you can come in like on a savings or investment thing if you have enough, like a minimum. And I don't know what that number looks like right now. I know a few years ago it was somewhere, I think in like 40 something thousand dollars range or something like that. And then a month or a monthly income. So they typically, usually to get like the stamp and the approval and all of that, that's kind of what they're looking for, something consistent. So if you do have whatever their minimum number is in an investment, it can be IRA, I think, a savings account, any of these or any combination of those things, as long as those accounts are in your name, and you need to show 12 months of that money being in your account. So there's that. And then you need, or you need to show, I believe, 6 months of steady income that's meeting whatever their requirements are, their minimum. I've been told, and I don't know, but I think what is this office called in Texas? McAllen was one of the consulates that kind of required a little less than some of the other consulates. But it's a process I did a while ago, and I know the amount goes up every year, but you can find individuals online, and or if you want to send me an email, I can send you information for immigration person. This is my email address, gmail.com. And I can send you people that do immigration services. There's a gentleman in Mexico City. I recently had a conversation with him, and there is another program that you can also possibly qualify for, where they don't ask for all those things, but I don't know a lot about it, so I don't want to talk about it. I don't talk about government stuff, so let them handle their own business. Denver is also one of the, okay, they don't care where you live. So that's, there are some like feedback and things. If you have Facebook, I suggest getting on some of the expat pages in the areas that you want to be in. And then, you can get a lot of info there. Facebook is very good here in Mexico for things like that. And it really is helpful to join. Like if you say, oh, I really want to go to Tulum, or I want to go to Playa, I want to go to San Miguel, or I want to go to Oaxaca, you can join those pages. I know Suki put hers up a little higher on the chat, and ask questions there that are going to be maybe a little bit more specific to your area. And it doesn't necessarily mean the consulate. I'm just saying, if that's a good way to kind of start to get to know the place or area you want to move to. Let's see. Rain right to a Mexican food, and I get the same, dear. Oh, that's perfect. So there's an example of, you think you know what you know until someone looks at you like you're kind of cuckoo or crazy. So it's always interesting. Language is very interesting. I have encountered foreign languages for a very long time. I was married to someone whose parents didn't speak English, and it was always interesting. I think I learned to really understand body language and just be a little bit more intuitive about what someone might be trying to say. So when it happens to me in reverse, where I'm trying really hard to say something and people just look at me all crazy, I do get frustrated. I'm just like, and then I'll be like, okay, here, like this is what I'm saying right here, right here. And the thing that I've learned about Google Translate, which is kind of like, it's a good friend, but it's not always accurate, right? It's a good thing to use, but it's not always. Like, I notice when someone sends me something in Spanish, if it's really long, I try to translate to make sure I read it to see if I understand it or the gist, and then I'll translate it in Google Translate, and it just comes out wacky. So oftentimes there are some people who may not have the best grammar, and they'll write me things, and it's like it just comes out really wacky. So it's not like, the futuristic version, but it definitely helps a lot to have that app. And someone was telling me today that not chat GPT, but they kept saying GPI, I think, that there's like something there as well that you can translate. And I've also heard the voice ones. I like that. I don't know where to get that. It's probably an app. I just haven't downloaded, where you can just talk. That would be so much better for me, where I can just talk and it translate, and then vice versa. They can talk back to me. Now, if they just find a way to integrate that with a telephone call, we're in business, right? I'll buy stock in that, just saying, because yeah, trying to make phone calls and contact people here can be a lot. Let's see, is there a beach or similar body of water? And yeah, Sunny, there's Zihuatanejo. That is going to be your body of water. Zihuatanejo, there it goes. There you go. That's about 4.5 hours away, but it's the closest beach to San Miguel. It's actually very nice. The city of Zihuatanejo, not too crazy, or wasn't so impressed with it. So there's Zihuatanejo. North of that is Ixtapa. And north of that is Troncones. And I'm sure there are more beaches, that keep going north. Those are on the Pacific side. I went to a beach with Patricia Ann Talley, for those who know her. I know Suki knows her. And yes, Suki, I love them too. Beaches in Oaxaca are really amazing. So when I went over there, she brought me to, I want to say Ixtapa, a beach in Ixtapa, and it was so much fun. It was really, to me, a local beach. They just had I don't know if you all experienced this at places in the US, but there's like a food shack, or maybe in the islands. This is more an island thing, probably. Food shack after another food shack and another food shack, and they're all lined up, and you just go in. There's plastic chairs and plastic tables, and there's just stuff happening all day. Like, you don't go to those beaches to relax. You just go to those beaches to hang out, listen to music, drink, eat, get in the water, get out, and just have fun. Well, that was that beach. And I can't tell you the name, but I'm pretty sure it was in Ixtapa, and it was so much fun. They literally had some guy playing a sousaphone, a band, trumpets, and they were just playing, like Mexican music all day. We were, 3 or 4 of very few foreigners that were there, but it was so much fun. It was packed. It was a Sunday. I'll let you know that Sundays are the days that is the day of the week that Mexican families get together and they hang hard. Okay. They go to the beaches. Every time I go to like Puerto Vallarta, Sunday, packed. It's just packed. Maybe Saturdays as well, but mostly on Sundays. So it's kind of nice to see. So if you want to go and relax, you need to go probably during the week or somewhere that's a little bit more private or quiet. But it was really cool. Hey, Kenya, welcome. Let's see. There is some. Hi, Jetta, welcome. Sorry if I missed that. No problem. You got in late. Okay. Have I tried the hot air balloon? Just saw that. Yes, I did. It wasn't my idea. It was actually my mother's idea. My mom's pretty adventurous. She's more adventurous than I realized. I think she just didn't have those opportunities, when we were younger, when she was younger. So when she came here to visit me the first year, she basically said, I want to climb up of one of those mountains. I want to hike up one of those mountains, and I want to get on a hot air balloon ride. Okay, Mom, sure, let's do it. So my mom is now 80, going on 82, or she's 80. Yes, she's 82, going on 83. And she's a very active 83. She could probably outwalk most of us. and she's just tough. She's a tough lady. So she has hiked with me 5 miles, no biggie. She's fine. Take a little rest, get her water in. And she just enjoys being outdoors. She's very active, so has walked her whole life. She never drove, so she walks everywhere, takes the bus and stuff like that. She's a very independent lady, but it was her idea to do hot air balloon ride. So we did in December. I don't recommend December because it's cold. I didn't really think about that. But we had to meet very early in the morning. I would say you have to kind of get to wherever the meetup point is by 6 a.m. And usually you're going up by 6:30. And it's a very, I probably would do it, but I'm glad she asked us to do it and go with, or to do, she wanted to do it. So I was just kind of like, okay, we'll all go. But I don't know if I would have just like really, I don't know if I would have done it by now if it wasn't for her. But it was very beautiful. I remember before going, a friend told me that they really enjoyed it and it was very serene because it's so quiet, right? Other than, of course, the fire, when the fire is not on, you're just kind of floating. And it's just, it's very interesting because, you know, we're so used to going up in the air, in the airplane. There's, you know, it's just loud, you know, you feel it, it's the engine, it's roaring. But this is kind of like, you're like lifting off the ground like this, and you're just floating and you're up there. And then suddenly I remember looking down and just kind of trying to get my bearings. It looks so different from the sky, but it was a beautiful experience. And I think the rides last for about 45 minutes or so. And there are several companies that do it here. I think one of the companies is called Coyote Canyon. And the owner, I think his name is Rodrigo. He also does like other things, adventure. So there's that. There's what else? Horseback, ATVs, and I believe you can do horseback riding in the canyon in here in San Miguel. I haven't done that, not interested in that. And you can also do like bar hopping, horseback riding through San Miguel, which looks really fun. I haven't done that, but it looks fun. And they do a sunset horseback ride, and they also have zip lining. That I want to do. I haven't done that yet. Not here. I did in Puerto Vallarta. So it's really beautiful. Let's see. Tonight, I can, if I didn't say welcome already. Welcome, Vaughn. Welcome to hang out. I'm interested in moving out of the US more than ever now. Spent a month in Mexico City last December. Love it. I want to visit other places in Mexico. Yeah, you know, I think it's a good idea to, okay, first Mexico City. I love Mexico City. I don't know that I have enough experience with Mexico City to say I would live there or not live there. But I've been there often, and it just reminds me a lot of like a very massive New York with green spaces everywhere. You know, it's very modern, and, you know, there are neighborhoods, I'm sure, that kind of look like Mexico, but here in San Miguel, it feels more like, you know, older kind of Mexican town that, of course, when you go inside, you know, it's a lot of places have been modernized and updated and things like that. But Mexico City is like, you know, skyrise, everything's fast and efficient, subways, buses, taxis, Ubers, you name it. You know, just amazing spaces, like amazing spaces. So back in the day, when I always wanted to live in New York, like Mexico City would have been my jam. I would have said, no, let's go there. Let's live there. This was before I even knew Mexico City existed. You know, and now I feel like I don't know that I would want to live there with a child, but I definitely love going to Mexico City. And I think it's worth checking it out. I really think it caters to, a very wide age group. And if you're, looking for a place to be more anonymous, or you're looking for a place that just has a lot of art and culture. I mean, they have a lot of art and culture in San Miguel too, but Mexico City is a city. There are multiple neighborhoods and all those other things to live in. But I do think if you are not sure, you have to definitely check out, places in Mexico. You got to go to places and you got to make sure that you try different places on so right? I think it's sometimes you just know, right? But sometimes if you're not sure, it's a good idea to kind of move around and see. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, hot air balloon ride is thumbs up. I would definitely do it again, but I don't know if I would have done it by now if my mom hadn't prompted that question or that desire. Now, I'll tell you this. When I was in Mexico City in March, beginning of this year, the beginning of March, I wanted to do the hot air balloon ride that's over the pyramid, and I'm gonna try. See, I don't want to get myself cut off here. I'm gonna find the name of it, but they do hot air balloon rides as well over these pyramids. And I'm not gonna try to say this name because I always get it wrong. Let's see, and why does that look weird? I can't see. I need my glasses, you guys. T-I. Okay, wait, I spelled it wrong. 1 second. T-O-T-I-H-C-N. Okay, so this is a pyramid in Mexico City, and you can do hot air balloon rides over that. Okay, and it's spectacular. It looks spectacular. So if you wanted to do that, I mean, it's going to be as amazing, I think, almost anywhere, but that's somewhere that I would repeat the experience. And I was going to do that with Micah. He wasn't too keen on it. Oh, that's his birthday. So we did he went to Sky Zone. So he was still like, airbound, but not in that way. It was cool. Let's see. Places to get affordable basic household and kitchenware that aren't in the main expensive. I mean, I would say that you can go to Bodega Aurora, which is owned by Walmart. They have a lot of appliances there at a pretty affordable price. There are places like Copal, which is a local kind of a mini department store. They have big locations around Mexico, but the one here in San Miguel is not that big. There are lots of places that sell appliances that are not at La Camera per se. I don't know that the price is way different for quality. And you can also check on Amazon.com.mex. Yeah, there's a difference. So Amazon.com, some of the items will be delivered, but then there's an importation fee. So you gotta look at that when you're checking out, or it'll say it in gray. So you can pretty much there's nothing that I can think of that you can't find here in terms of a kitchen appliance. I think most things are, here. You can also try like a Costco's, but the name brand will dictate the cost. Like at Costco's, I would love to buy a vacuum, but they only have a Dyson, and they only have 3 small carpets. So I'm not going to buy a Dyson, right? So I ordered one of those hand push things, the Red Devils, but with, you can hand push it, not realizing it didn't have the roller things. So it kind of works. It works okay, but I have a lot of tiles, so that works fine. So let me see, I love to eat. Is there a spot? Food. Okay, let's talk about food after I drink my wine. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at something. Okay, so here's my take with San Miguel has a lot of really amazing places, amazing views, amazing restaurants. But just like how I felt in Miami about the amazing restaurants, the food wasn't always great. It's like this cool, chic-y place. They just open it. Everyone fantastic shows up. And, I don't know. I've lived in some places where there was really good food all the time, any type or style. So I get a little picky. I've traveled and there are places that the food's just like, so delicious. So here, what I find is there are hit or miss experiences in the same restaurant. For example, there's one restaurant that I really like, and the views are amazing. I used to go there more often in the beginning, and I don't go as much, but if I do go now, I know what specific things I'll order, right? It feels sometimes to me like a hit or miss. It's like the ambiance is right, the drinks are right, they're beautiful, the location is right, but you never really know if the dish you order is going to be it. So I've kind of collected in my head the things I like to eat. And if I go to that particular restaurant, I'm only going to order the wild mushroom risotto because it's really good there. Or I'm only going to order the roasted tomato basil soup with cheese in the middle. But I'm probably not going to order some other thing, a chicken dish, because, my dad didn't have a great experience. They're just places like, there's a super duper expensive hotel in town, and I don't think the restaurant's all that, right? But their brunch is amazing, right? So if I were going to recommend spaces for ambiance, I would say, there's Atrio, which actually, in my opinion, has a pretty consistent menu, and it's right by the church. Most people like it. I know someone's like, it's right there in your face, and I'm like, yeah, that's the point. Where the church is, right there, the views are amazing. They have like fire pits, the service is pretty on point, the prices are higher, but you are right by the church, so every now and then you're going to be talking and then suddenly the bells are gonging and it's very loud. I was there once or somewhere close by, and fireworks were literally coming down. They were doing like fireworks. A fireworks show. It was awesome. It was beautiful to look at. But, the little drops of fire were coming my way. And anyway, so there are lots of places. I love Azotea, which is more of like kind of like a tapas bar. And my dog is here. That place is really cool. Great ambiance. They have good food, in my opinion. Mostly things there are consistent. Today I went to another place, different place, and I had risotto, and it was okay. It was wild. It was a shiitake mushroom. And the thing is, if you know how to kind of season up your food and do what you do, it's kind of hard to not have like great food when you're paying, kind of like top end prices and things. So doesn't fully answer your question, but I think restaurants like there's a place called The Restaurant. They have good food. I've met the owner, chef. He also has another restaurant that's a little out of town called El Vergel. They have good food. Garambulos has pretty good food, like breakfast, lunch. I love Rustica. Rustica has great breakfast and lunch. It's kind of Mexican Mediterranean. Raíces is a small spot, good food. Lima's is a Peruvian place. They have pretty good food as well. Like I said, some of the high-end fancier places will have like maybe, 60 70% of the food is great. And then others, like for me, again, this is an individual taste and taste bud thing where I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's okay. There were a few people who tried opening like soul food restaurants. Listen up. If you open a soul food restaurant, you better put your foot into it, right? Because we will be judging you and your fried chicken. So do not call it soul food if you don't know how to cook soul food. That's all we have to say, because we were all talking about this particular place and we went there all excited and it was just not good. So I know that there's someone who's moving here that wants to open, I think, kind of like an African or Ethiopian or a Caribbean place. I'm not sure. But, you know, being from the Caribbean, if you say Caribbean, you better identify what island you're cooking and representing, right? Because Jamaican food is not Guyanese food, is not Trinidadian food, and we will let you know about it, right? And it's not Haitian food, right? We all have our own things. So just saying. And that's an idea, you know, it's an idea. I think someone should come down here and give us some soul food. Let's see. Welcome, Tom, many years ago. And he said, my mom too. Pyramids outside Mexico. Yes. Oh, nice. Someone gave you a bear. Okay, you said you went with your mom. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna assume you were 21 and over. My hand on the guy with the cooler at the top. That's so cool. Yes, I can give Mexicans props. They are always on point and ready to sell whatever they can. It doesn't matter. All the lights, whether they're doing tricks, fire, flying in the air, or selling you a cloth or something like that. I don't know. But yes, they're always on point. And I have to say, you know, they are, for me, kind of the epitome of surviving, and they represent things that I admire. I really, really, really do. You know, they're very hardworking people, and they are just kind of like, okay, I'm selling my sunflowers and, you know, the little kids and whatever. And I always try to support that. Selling, just one guy, he just walks around selling belts with a younger girl. I don't know if it's his daughter or whatever, but yeah, that's probably the same pyramids, I'm sure. Hey, Lorraine, yes, enough said about the food. I'm telling you, that's one thing that I feel is missing here. And you know what? I also think there's not great Asian food in this town. There's a chain called Arigatos. And also, if I forget, I want to go back to talking about kind of Southern food. Well, I'll talk about that first. Arigatos and then the Southern food. So there's a place called Hank's. They have one here, and I believe they have one in Querétaro. And in Querétaro, I haven't been to that location, but the one here, rather, it's kind of like food from New Orleans, and it's actually pretty good, right? I don't know who owns it, but it's definitely kind of an expat spot. I don't go there often. I used to go more in the beginning when I first moved here, but the food is good. Like they have crab cakes. They have a lot of like gumbo and chicken wings and things like that. And it's actually pretty good, but they don't call themselves soul food. It's just kind of like New Orleans style. And it's actually pretty good. I have to give them their props on that. They have like this 4-cheese thing in like a bread bowl. And I don't know if that's Southern per se, but it's definitely heavy. And it's kind of like a soup mix. It's really good. It's good stuff, you know, and for the price. So it's consistently good. They bring in a pretty good crowd. Now, Asian food. This arigato is, it's kind of like Japanese fusion. They have good stuff. Like they have yakami or something like that. Maki rice, I think it's what it's called. With, you know, you can get different fried rice mixes, you get rolls and things like that. But I have not really found in San Miguel a great tasting Asian place yet. I've heard that Inside Cafe, which is more of like an amazing sandwich, like they have the best grilled cheese type sandwiches and other like foods. They just really have an interesting spin on it. But on some nights after 4, they turn into kind of like an Asian kind of thing. Someone told me about this the other day and said it was very good, like maybe like ramen noodles and things like this. But just like, I don't know, you guys that have lived where they have like really good Thai food, really good Vietnamese food, really good Chinese food. If you eat Chinese, I didn't eat a ton of it when I was younger, I did. But as I got older, I really love Thai food. And I have not found that here. So if anyone wants to open a Thai restaurant, come on down, bring your seasonings. I think you can get stuff in Karencita. So anyway, that's what I have for you. If there are any more questions, please let me know. Let me know. I just realized like my clock on my computer, since I updated today, it's now different than the one on my phone. And this is a result of us not changing to daylight savings this year, right? As Brianna said, whoever made that decision needs a whopping. So it's been a little confusing. Right now it's actually 7:30, but my computer now says 8:30. Shaking my head. Yes. So do you all have any more questions for me? Anyone? Is there an international food store? I guess they're international food products. I won't say there's just one store dedicated to international food. I think all the stores around here have international aisles. And then there are like a few smaller places that are gourmet. There's a place in town called Bonanza that has a lot of international products as well. Or I just remember the spices in the back. They had like curry, so I got excited. Jamaican curry, because there's a difference. There's Indian. Sorry. Micah. I don't know why my dog is barking. Being a mom with animals in my life and kiddos. As far as international food, hold on. Okay, thank you. Sorry, my son. Thank you. My dog is barking at someone or something. He's an old fella. Sorry about that. Okay, so international foods, you can kind of find a lot of different things. I would say most of the aisles that have the international foods, it's a mix. You can get things like gnocchi, and then you can get Asian sauces, maybe some Thai seasonings, not a lot, but like a limited amount, things like that. That was definitely possible. There's a place called Luna de Queso that has a lot of specialty items. And those items are like pricey. For example, at Thanksgiving, I remember they were selling cornbread, right? Because that's not really like a thing here. You can't find Jiffy in like the regular grocery store. So they were selling cornbread. And I remember I got so excited. It's like the little things. You see cornbread all the time in the US on the shelves or whatever. We just walk by it. We buy it when we need it. And they were selling it for, I want to say it was 80 pesos. And I kind of grabbed it. And they also had stovetop stuffing. This was all around Thanksgiving, and cranberry sauce and stuff. And I like grabbed it and I threw it in my cart. And then I was like, wait a minute, 80 pesos. At the time, it's even more now. It was about $4 for one of those little boxes. And I was just like, oh, no. So put it back. I put it back. So it does happen, that's pretty much my take with the international foods. I can tell you that in Querétaro, they do have like the Asian supermarkets. And I say supermarkets, it's a market, it's a little market, but they call them supermarkets. And they have a lot of products that I would prefer to buy there than to buy from one of the international aisles here, because it just costs more. And who knows, they probably got it from them and brought it here. For example, at La Comer, the grocery store, they sell Kirkland products, the Costco's products, but they cost more. So yeah, I have a membership, so I won't pay more for it. As I'm sure you know, arigato means thank you in Japanese. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Tom. Thank you. But I do like their food. I think it's one of my favorite in terms of if I had to pick Asian. You know, it's kind of Asian fast food in a way, but they do have a chain. They're opening one kind of closer to where I live, and there's one in Central. I've seen them in other cities in Mexico. So it's good to, now I know when I see that sign, I'll think, thank you. I'll remember, thank you. So if no one has more questions for me, I'm gonna wrap up tonight. Next week, we're trying to do a round table at Casa ELM with ladies, mostly probably ladies that live here, and we want to get their input on life in San Miguel or how it's been for them. So we're really trying to figure out the logistics of how we do the camera, you know, because I'm sitting here, it's easy for me being one person. So just kind of look up for that. That's the plan for our live for next week, so we can have, you know, other people's perspective about life in Mexico and how they feel about it and what their experiences have been and things like that. So I'll probably be on talking, but I'm going to also try to man the questions. So we'll see. So you'll have to bear with us a little bit if we are, you know, tumbling through this. We thought it would be better to do it as all of us together rather than having, you know, 6 people or so or 4 people on the Zoom, because it just feels like, you know, you're in San Miguel. So I think it would be great. Thank you, Gilda. I appreciate you. So you all have a fantastic week, rest of your week and weekend. Stay safe. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Don't forget to hit the like button. Share with people, you know, we're here. Find us on Facebook and subscribe to the channel, but also to our website. We send out, you know, information occasionally about what's going on in SMA, what's happening in San Miguel. So we really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone who comes here to support. And thank you all for keeping the conversation going with your questions. I hope I was helpful. Anyway, have a good night. Thank you.